Good afternoon, everybody, from a very warm and sunny South Africa. We are here today, myself as Joffers, your guide for the afternoon, and Basil behind the camera with us today. Really excited to be back, been gone for a couple of months, so really awesome to be back in the driver's seat and back in action, and really excited just to be back on the Rietspruit Reserve. You know, it's a reserve that I really missed over the last couple of months, and I've been hearing so much about new animals coming in and other ones going out, and a whole lot of different aspects that have been taking place. So really awesome to be back with you all today, and we are in for an absolute treat of an afternoon with this very epic live game drive thanks to Painted Dog TV. And of course, we've got to say a very big thank you to Dunlop for keeping us going out here, and as well as to Rogue for keeping us in the shade on these hot summer days out here. And we can't forget Stanley, who's keeping us hydrated, nice and cool in the hot African heat, and Led Lenzo, who will come out a little bit later on. So we're in for a fantastic afternoon. I hope you're all excuse me, having a good morning wherever you're waking up, having a good afternoon, or for some of you it's probably very early morning. So just want to let you know, I am not being rude and just checking my Instagram or anything of a kind on my cell phone, but rather I am going to be checking your comments as we go along, and seeing what's happening, what questions there are, and get a bit of interaction. So please, it's an incredible learning opportunity. So if you've got a question or anything of a kind, you see something that sparks an interest, please let me know. Pop a question onto the YouTube channel and let's have a chat about it. So I will check, I'm not going to continuously check, but I'll check about every, let's say like 5 minutes and 58 seconds. We'll call it around roughly that bracket. Hello everybody. Hello Connie, hello Mary, hello Becky, Carol. Oh, so lovely to be back with you all. Now, we have been having some quite excessive heat recently. I got home back to Hoedspruit on Sunday night, last night, and I'd been in Durban for a number of weeks. As well as prior to that, I was in Cape Town and in the Kalahari Desert. And I thought that was hot. Little did I know what I was coming back to. It is rather warm. Myself and my better half Sarah were sitting at home last night and had the AC rolling on full blast and literally still sat there sweating. And we have had a little bit of an animal encounter at our house today. Some warthogs decided that it would be a fantastic idea to dig up one of our waters and create a little mud wallow for themselves. Beautiful to see, but quite inconvenient as well. Luckily, I don't have to sort that one out though. I can only imagine the relief though for the warthogs on a hot day. First school life, you ask, what have I been up to in my absence? And everyone says, hello, Basil. VM is in FC, just so you're aware as well. Thank you to VM for keeping us all and making sure we have awesome connectivity. And they've made quite a number of upgrades as well on these vehicles, on the mics, on everything. So it is going to be absolutely superb, and you are being delivered the ultimate live game drive experience. But I have been away for quite some time. I've been doing quite a lot of conservation work, moving a few things here and there and that sort. And then I was on safaris up in the Kalahari and Cape Town, and very cool to be back. I mean, I hadn't been to the Kalahari for about 2018 was the last time I was back. So really awesome to to be back, see the different species again. And you know, it's such a beautiful area to visit. It's a really unique area. You know, it's got the likes of aardvark, pangolin, aardwolf, Cape fox, bat-eared fox. It's got a whole variety of very unique species, so it's a really incredible safari destination. Pretty warm. You got to hit it at the right time of year. If you don't go at the right time of year and you go more so in the peak summer months, it tends to be very, very hot, to the point where you actually leave for your morning safari at about 4:30 in the morning, just because it is so warm. And by about 7:30 already, a lot of the animal activity starts to drop down and dies out. In the evenings, you go out at about 5:30, and you're only back sometimes by 8:39, have a dinner, and then back out for the more nocturnal species like that of aardvark and pangolin. And then I had a little Durban sabbatical on the south coast of South Africa. We were up there for about 4 weeks or so. And now I got back home last night, and I have been absolutely itching like you cannot believe to get back home and come and join you all again on these live game drives. I feel like we haven't seen or heard each other for ages. It's 4 months since my last drive. I was saying to Sarah, my better half, on the way here, really excited to be back out in the bush and to be back out with you all. But our plan for this afternoon, we are going to jump from water source to water source, and the reason why we're going to do that is because as the afternoon temperature slowly starts to dissipate, a lot of the animals will start to go to the various water points. Of course, it's easier for them to move when it's cooler, they use up less energy and they're able to drink. Maybe we'll even get lucky. We will try to find the elephants. On a hot day like this, it's often the case that elephants will actually go into the water. Sometimes you get them swimming, sometimes mud wallowing. So it's often a can give us some really spectacular sightings. And I always say also a water hole. It's a place of both life and death. And the reason why I say that is because you think of a water source, think of the vegetation that's around a water source. You know, there's so much of this luscious green vegetation full of nutrients for the animals. So that firstly attracts them. Secondly, of course, the water for the hydration purposes. But in saying also, predators are animals that learn through habit, and a lot of the time they will hang. Lions, leopards, cheetahs, they hang around the water source because they know at some point during the day that there will be a hunting opportunity that gets presented to them. And being an opportunistic hunter, as which all of these predators are, they have to take every opportunity that they get. So we are hoping that by going water source to water source to water source, that we are going to get lucky and we might find one or two of these predators. I got an update before we left of the male lions. The two of the three brothers here were on the southern fence line last night. So with this heat, I don't think they would have gone too far, and we might get lucky with one of the nearby water sources. So we're going to start off the closer water sources. Before we started off, we actually did check one along the way. So we might find some track or sign of it. But talking about track and sign, we have got a sign of a predator, not the predator, but we have got a sign. So what you are seeing over here is a cheetah, and these cheetah tracks will belong to the two brothers or that one lone individual that has been hanging around. I would say it's probably, or it is the two brothers, because there is two sets of tracks here which would indicate these are two different animals. And the reason why I say that, there's one walking in the middle of the road. It's quite a tough one to see, but here portion of it over here. You can see the three of the toes, and a slight little flick forward. I don't know if you'll be able to get it from there, but it's quite a nice one here. So continuously terrain, they need all the grip that they an hour. It's always a nice little giveaway when you're looking at these cheetah tracks and identifying a cheetah track. It's so often the case that you can see that claw mark, especially in a nice soft substrate on the road like this. But these are not fresh. I'd say these are maybe a few days old, maybe 2 days, 3 days old. And they are going in the opposite direction to where we've just come from. And I did not see any other cheetah tracks on the road coming up this way. So we're not going to spend time on these. Maybe later on we can loop around to the southern fence line, see if there's further sign of them around there. But for now, I think let's continue going to the east and get to some water sources and see if we get lucky. You'll see I've got my trusty pillow as well, because I'm too short to see over the hood of the vehicle. So I need my pillow. And we're off. Basil, do you know, have you guys seen the cheetah in the last couple of days anywhere?
Yeah. It was around Hayes.
Around Hayes?
Yeah.
Okay.
About 2 days ago.
There we go. So Basil is just saying that about 2 days ago, they had the cheetah brothers around Hayes, around Painted Dog HQ. So I'd imagine that they're still somewhere within that general area. It is a very well suited area because of it's got a nice old airstrip that's very, very long. It offers him a great hunting opportunity. So I'd predict that they're still somewhere in that area. Ha! Don't find a leopard, Gareth would never forgive you. Well, I've only ever found one leopard on a live game drive, but there's no saying that it won't happen. But you know, if I did say there's a leopard and spotted one, you wouldn't even be able to tell me well spotted. You know why? Because a leopard has always been spotted. Oh, back in action. Our bush is looking pretty dry at the moment as well. You'd think after these hot days we'd be getting a little bit more rainfall, but I think there's rain predicted for Wednesday, I believe. So that'll really help to just bring everything just luscious and green again, bring everything back to life, bring the bush back to life, show us that it's summertime. Right now it looks like we're in the middle of winter. All this dead vegetation, dead grass around. At least it's beautiful days, and it's quite lovely, I must be honest, being in an open game viewer and just experiencing the smells and the sights out here. It is a really lovely afternoon as well on the open game viewer. I always say you really can't beat a safari experience, an African safari experience. Oh, got some tracks over here. Some tracks of a male lion. Let's see where he has gone. Oh, and there's cheetah tracks here as well. Fresh cheetah tracks. Ooh, maybe the lions and the cheetah are having a meeting. Let's just see. I just want to see if I can find a nice clear one for you. Oh, those are very nice cheetah tracks. I'll show you now. You can just see a little bit of a toe here and there, but I think that the male lions as well as the cheetah have come this direction. So don't know where we are or what this road is called, but we're going to take this and go explore. Basil, please keep your eyes open. If we drive past a lion or a cheetah, that'll be catastrophic. Oh, and some rhino tracks as well. I think we've hit the jackpot with the area. This is definitely where we want to be. There seems to be quite a lot of animal activity here. Hold on. There is a really nice rhino track here of a white rhino. Ah, Mary, you knew it had to come at some point. Yeah, I also hope they're not having a meeting. Otherwise the cheetah's not going to be in too good of a shape. But over here we have got a track of a white rhino. The reason why I say that this is a white rhino is immediately you can tell just purely from the size of it, and secondly there's a few little different aspects that we look at here. So one of the first ones we look to tell whether it's a black rhino or a white rhino tends to be a lot more elongated as such, right? So you can see it right in the middle here. Black rhino almost tends to be, I always think of it like a squashed track as such. And another dead giveaway here is the 3 toes. So you got the 1 toe here, another toe here, and the front toe. So your 2 side toes and your front toe, they're fairly close in size proximity, right? Whereas your black rhino, you'll find your front toe tends to be quite a lot larger than that of the 2 side toes. And like I said, quite a lot smaller as well. And then what's really fun, I always think on the white rhino, is that it gives you a W at the back here to tell you W for white. Now, you can see where this track is. If you just look up a little bit here, Basil, if you can just kind of go further up through the bush here, you will notice that there's almost a very well established path coming through. Now there is a watering hole, actually the one that we're aiming to get to is just further east along here. So what happens is these animals tend to use the same pathway, and by using that same path continuously for months and months and years on end, it will eventually kill the root structure. It's the same like if we continuously drive off road in one spot, we kill the root structure of the vegetation there, the fauna and the flora, so it ends up being a desolated strip there. Now if you look at this over time, the animals have done exactly that, where they have where they've killed that root structure and developed this perfect pathway. So great for the animals, but what's really nice as well is that often for us, if we're doing a walking safari out here, it gives us a really nice pathway to walk along.
Heading towards Fiction. Okay.
Hold on.
Just got into my vehicle and jumped out of the crossing to have a look.
So much fun being back in the Jimny.
Should have one visible.
When I was in the Kalahari now, we're joking. We got to the turning circle for our first afternoon game drive, and we got into one of these. Something a little bit larger. It had a roof. It had 2 seats on the back, and I must say it was actually pretty epic driving around in a Jimny in the middle of the Kalahari. The dunes, however, did not really agree. Yeah, I'll share some videos on social media of it. You'll have a good laugh of trying to get a Jimny over a Kalahari dune with loaded with 4 people. It was quite entertaining. We did have a really, really good laugh. Hey Quint, hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Awesome to have you on here, man. So we have just spoken about these rhino tracks. Going down the road here, again, here are more tracks leading down. So you can see that they look really fresh, right? But now when we trying to determine how fresh one particular track is, we've got to look at a few different aspects. So today we know it has been windy, it has not rained, so we can't look for wind disturbance, we can't really look for any rain disturbance or anything of a kind. So now we've got to look at other aspects, right? So you can see these are fairly undisturbed, but I'd say that these are probably from either early morning or late last night. And the reason why I say that is we've got one of the little five that are here. So I don't know if anybody can name the little five and tell us what the little five are. But I'll give you the first one. This one we're about to look at is a ant lion. And a ant lion builds this upside down cone shape. And the reason why it does that is because it feeds primarily on ants and termites. More so ants. But what they do is they form this little cone in the ground. And as an ant comes over, it will disturb the sound, and that will then alert the antlion that its food source has arrived. It's basically like a dinner bell going. So if I just touch the edge of this, Bezo, I don't know if you can see into the here. Okay. Let's see if he flicks some sand up. Nope. This one clearly did not get the memo. But we'll see if we can find more of them as we go. But as we go, I am going to wait for all of you to tell me what is the little five. Quint, I really expect you to be able to answer that. Being a Zimbabwean through and through from the bush, I think you should get all five. And if you don't, that might be a tad disappointing. Okay, Mary, here we go. Rhino beetle, elephant shrew, leopard tortoise, buffalo weaver, ant lion. Mary, you take the cake. Well done. That's it. That is the little five. That's very impressive. Well done. These live game drives are working magic for all of you guys with these educational aspects, hey? We've still got our rhino tracks going along here. I think we might be a number of hours behind the individual though. And it seems I have absolutely no idea where I am. I'm going to go into Google Maps. Don't you love technology? Alrighty, let's see where we are at here. We're just loading up. Okay. We need to take a right and then another right, and then we're not too far. Who says men can't multitask? Hey, look at this, talking, checking the map. Might need some glasses though. Such beautiful dams on here, all over the show. Okay, but we're on track, that's the good news. Hello, Deneen. Thank you so much. It really is lovely to be back in action here. Becky, you're saying I can only imagine how easy it is to get lost. Look, it is fairly easy to get lost in these different areas, but as long as you know your northeast, southwest, you should be good. You know, one thing that is fairly easy to use here in the whole Rietspruit region is we've got the mountain range in the west. So it tends to be quite an easy one. Look, if it is overcast or something of a kind, then you can start to look at sun direction, use a stick and shadow method, where you pop a stick in the ground, leave it for a couple of hours, and that will also give you a general kind of area and give you a general direction. There's different species of birds that build their nests on specific ends of trees and that sort. So there are a lot of tips and pointers that really do help us out here to prevent us from getting lost. Now, I think this is our right-hand turn. Look how pretty that is. Let me just go onto the mountains there for a sec. Absolutely beautiful. And I always say that it's really amazing to see the mountains, and isn't that beautiful? You can see all the just different shapes, different sizes, all of it, hey? And I always say that would really love for you all just to experience it and to have the smells out here and to have the different sights. It is something really, really unique. You know, I always say safari is that of, you can tell someone about it, but it's a feeling that you get when you're out here, that anticipation of what's coming next, what's around the corner, where you're going. Something really, really awesome. once you've done one safari, or you say the rest of the vacations are almost ruined, because you you've had such an incredible time out in Africa, and there's just so many experiences to have and places to see. You can really hear all of the birds. That's how you know it's starting to cool down. All the birds coming up. Alright, let's carry on here with our mission. And remember, just talking about that, you know, the experiences and whatnot in Africa, you can always drop a line or email to Painted Dog TV and see some of the most incredible safaris, and Painted Dog is able to take you to some of the most unique spots in Africa. I like to call them Africa gems. But I've stopped here, not such a gem, but for a little bone. And you can see that this is an old bone. It's been here for quite some time, and I think that this is probably something smaller, maybe a baby impala, most likely got killed by a predator, or maybe even malnutrition. Very, very hard to tell when you just find the one bone. Now, the reason why we're only finding the one bone out here is, you know, everything's got a purpose, from when it's living to when it's dead. Now, once one of these animals are dead, it's not always a case that you'll just find a full skeleton around, because think when the predators are feeding, like lions and leopards and so forth, you know, they'll feed on a lot of the bone. They get a lot of the bone marrow on the smaller species, younger species, that they're able to crush through. But then, of course, there is going to be bone fragments as well as full bones that are left. And I'd say this almost looks like a femur with a ball and socket at the end there. And the reason why we find this alone is that this could have been picked up from anything from a hyena to a kudu or a rhino or a giraffe, and the reason why they will feed on these bones is they practice something called osteophagia. Now, osteophagia is one of those big fancy words, but all it basically means is that feeding on bone. And the reason why they do that is to get a calcium supplement. So they can't get the calcium, the browsers and the grazers, the herbivores, from the vegetation that they're feeding on here. It's got a very, very low percentage of calcium content in it. So they've got to look at other ways to supplement that diet. So by, let's say, for example, even a giraffe. Let's say a giraffe comes and the giraffe licks this bone and sucks on the bone. He's getting a lot of that calcium intake. And it's almost like us as humans have a protein shake or having a calcium tablet as such. So although an animal is dead, it still forms a very, very crucial part of the bush, and it really shows again how everything's so interconnected out here. It's really, really all connected. You take one aspect out and then it's going to disrupt that whole circle of life. And the other thing is, this hasn't any insects or anything living under it, but it's very important to pick these things up. You are very careful, firstly, especially if it's a bone, because disease can be carried throughout these bones. But at the same time, also, if you pick up a rock, if you pick up a bone, a skull, or anything of a kind, put it back where you found it, because there's a lot of microlife that will be utilizing that, maybe as a home, maybe as a food source. So we don't want to disturb any of that microlife. We need to be really respectful of the bush, and we need to keep these areas as pristine as possible. With the wilderness areas in Africa really shrinking drastically, what we have got left, we really need to do all that we can to protect it. And that's why I know it's so nice when things just link like this. That's why Painted Dog does all of these conservation events, does these collarings of animals, these saving of wild dogs, moving of cheetahs, because it is so, so important for the survival of all of these different species. Without companies like Painted Dog, we would never have these wilderness areas that we have today. I think we're on the right road to get to the dam. Hey Judy, watching from Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. Awesome to have you guys on here. It's so nice that the temperature's actually dropping a little bit. Hopefully you're not seeing my back sweat on this warm day. I always say also these safari vehicles, they've got 5 different AC settings. The only problem is the more the AC pumps, the bumpier it is, because to keep that AC working, you got to do one of these and really put your foot down, and the faster you go, the more cooled down you get. It's one of those great ones when you're chasing after particular species, or you've heard alarm calls and you're shooting to that area now. Get a nice cool down along the way. But I think it is still pretty warm for a lot of the species, hence why we are not seeing too much.
Downstream on the west bank, so you may pick them up on that little track that goes downstream on our side of the river. Go copy, take. Mark going mobile Ledward, I've got the update, thanks.
So can hear a couple more vehicles getting mobile now, so that will be fantastic, because we're all going to work together, help one another, and we are going to let each other know what is out and about. Doesn't sound like it had any luck yet this afternoon with anything, but I'm sure it is going to come up a little later. We might even head up towards the eastern fence line and see if those cheetahs are up by that eastern fence line. You know, they love to be on the fences. They tend to often hunt along the fence because they've learned that it's easier to chase prey. The prey has got limited escape routes then, which just means that it's a little bit easier for them to hunt. But if the cheetah runs into the fence, we should call it the Minister of Defense. Brilliant. Oh, a little for a sec. We had a little banded mongoose that just ran across the road. Right there, yeah, where you've got the camera now. And why we're waiting is because banded mongoose actually live in groups, right? So because they're living in groups, it's often the case that when you see one, you'll often see a number of other individuals. Okay. Doesn't seem like much got the memo this afternoon. They must know that I'm back. Like, ha! We're going to make it tough for joffers to find us today. Missed this, a little bit of excitement. Luckily we've got the Dunlop tyres on to get it's actually into this little river ring here. It's considerably cooler, and it's a really fantastic opportunity to look for fresh tracks of the cats, because it's often the case what they'll do is in these little tributaries you'll have this underground flowing water, right? So on this underground flowing water, what they'll a sand cool, so the cats will go and they'll scrape off that top layer and they'll get to that wetter cooler layer below and sleep on that. Even the rocks, these granite rocks here, will tend to be a little bit cooler. It's an opportunity for to cool themselves down on these warmer days. Some good bird life down here as well. Alrighty, we're off. I love these roads are slightly less travelled. I always think that these are the ones where you're going to find a lot of the gap. So we're going to be together for quite a few drives in the next 2-3 weeks or so, and in those drives we are definitely going to go on some black rhino missions, go check up around the area of Puffadder Dam and that general area, checking these riverbeds, because the last time I was with you guys we spent quite a while looking for the black rhino, but unfortunately weren't able to find it. Hey, Michael, good to see you on with us. Long time no see. Long time no see. I am located the dam on the map. We're on our way. We're on our way. I think we're going to hit it at perfect timing. I was just checking to see that you're paying attention, to take a little bit of a diversion, you know, see that everyone's paying attention. You won't believe it, now I've lost my marker where we are. There we go. So you'll see what I'm using here is, it's actually on Google Maps, but it's a quite a specific program, and kind of just gives us the area and what's out and about, what's around, and how to get to the different areas. So if you are wondering, this is how I navigate about 90% of the reserves that I've been to. Always a good idea when you're going past these jungle to check up and down the roads. We had mentioned earlier that a lot of these species they like to utilize the game paths. Easier for them to walk on a pathway or walk on the road than just randomly through the bush. Minimal obstacles and that sort, so it just tends to be a little bit more effortless for them. Oh, Carol, that is awesome. One of the rhinos have a young calf. That's really, really special. Hey? You know, so good as well that you know, the species and make got reserves like Rietspruit that's so well protected, and you know, really doing a massive bit for conservation. Really does make such a difference. But hopefully in the next drives we'll get lucky and might even get an opportunity to see one. Rhinos. Game Rhino. I say there's nothing quite on foot with an elephant. I always just think it's one of those iconic African animals. Really, really beautiful. Walking out here also, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the thrill and the adrenaline that you get, and you look at the smaller micro life, a lot of the fauna, a lot of the flora, really gives you a whole different perspective of the bush and of safari. You get to smell all of the little trees and the little plants. Sometimes smell the animals, you know, smell like where a genet or a leopard has scent marked. Michael, I'm just reading your comment here. Imagine having to use a physical map nowadays, like was necessary before technology advancements. I cannot imagine that. Actually, oh, there's a warthog. The first couple of reserves I learned. I had to learn without a digital map, and it tends to be quite difficult. Can you see him through there? There he is. It's a bit of an obstructed view. It's quite a distance away, but you can see it is a male. You can see a large wart protruding outward below the eyes there. It looks like quite an old one as well. His tusks aren't looking too big. But one of the more not so well designed animals, you know, they've got these very short necks but these long front legs. So it's so often the case you see them having to go down on their wrist or knees actually, and bending down to forage, and then using those tusks to lift up a whole lot of the tubers and bulbs and root structures that offer them a really good feeding opportunity. Good little tail, and off he goes into the vegetation. Okay, so our first mammal this afternoon is the warthog. Really excited to get to this dam now. Really hoping that we're going to get some activity around there, and judging by that game path that we saw earlier, I think we may get lucky. Oh, there we go, banded mongoose. There we go, on the hole. Just keep it on the hole there, there might be more coming. Oh, on the right. A little bit to the right, yep. Another one on the hole you're on. I'm giving Basil an absolute run around here. On the right hand side, there we go, can you see the little face moving there? I'll jump out now, just going to give him a sec, there he is. Look at that cute little face on the right hand side. Yep, there we go. There he is. Oh, cute. Look at that. So as we had mentioned earlier, you know that the bush all works in one big circle and everything helps one another. This termite mound, this termitarium that we currently looking at, or where these banded mongoose came out of, you know, this is no longer active with termites, and the reason why I say that is because it has got so many holes and cavities in it, that if it was active it wouldn't have such large holes like that, because what the termites do, they're called a fungus growing termite, and it's almost essentially its own ecosystem within that mound. Now it's like farm layers that are below one another, and it's kept at a constant temperature and very humid within that mound when it is active. But once a mound becomes dormant, it now makes a home available for multiple different species. So everything like we've just seen from banded mongoose to dwarf mongoose, you know, a lot of black mambas, African rock pythons. So it serves a very crucial purpose even once it is no longer active. But something that's always blown my mind about these termite mounds is that when we look at it like this, and you can see how large it really is, when you see it, you're only seeing 1/3 of it, so it still goes 2/3 underground. So essentially it's like an iceberg.
Yeah, I'm leaving the bull elephant time and down with 2 vehicles on locker.
Oh, okay. It's quite fun actually, you know, in the winter mornings. Yeah, out here, it's properly chilly, and you can go and put your hand on top of the chimney. So to keep the temperature constant, you'll notice this. Oh, of course, you won't be able to feel it through the camera. You'll have to just believe me on this one, that you put your hand on top and there's this almost chimney effect, and it's got this warm humid air coming out. So often when I was still doing the lodge guiding and on these safaris, still do it on the safaris, where on a winter morning you have your cup of coffee and you go stand around a termite mound and you put your hands on top. It's a really lovely way to warm up on those chilly African mornings. You really need that around June, July, when it's when we're in the peak winter and it's very, very chilly. I am missing those days now, though, I must be honest. Wouldn't mind 1 or 2 of those days and then the cold can go again. Let me check my trusty map here for a sec. We are going left. Cheers, Michael. Have a lovely day. Good luck at work, and yeah, lovely to have you on here for a little bit. I'm sure we'll have a catch up soon. Have a good one. And then we are taking a right. At the next corner, turn left. I'll be like my own Garmin here. As you all know, when Maddie is on game drive, I often refer to Matt as the Mattigator, because he says, "Oh, let's go here. Oh, okay, this is that. Oh, there's that. Take this left, take that right." It's like having Google Maps right behind me. I think we're going to be treated with an absolutely gorgeous sunset today as well. Now, there has been a fire that has been going for the last couple of days on the mountains just to the north of Rietspruit, the iconic mountain of the Drakensberg, and that has spread quite drastically. Look, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can actually often be a positive out here, because what it's going to do is going to allow for a lot of new vegetation, new growth to come through, and all of those animals that that frequent that area will have new food sources and so forth. I've got a little something in the road. It has been driven over, but what we have got here is a porcupine quill. This looks like more one of the defensive quills, and you can see that it has been driven over there, so someone must not have seen it and gone over it. But the reason why I stopped is it's actually something really interesting out here. When you're looking at the different colors of these various animals, the colors can often indicate as to whether that animal is poisonous, whether an animal is dangerous, what it secretes, and so forth. Now, when you see this black and white coloring, that black on top and white on the bottom, it doesn't necessarily have to be like that, but just that black and white. It's what we refer to out here as aposematic coloration. And what this means is that the black and white coloration would indicate that that animal, its anal glands secrete a chemical substance that smells really bad, and that's often used to deter a predator from preying on it. And of course, remember, porcupine don't actually shoot a quill, but rather back up into a predator. There's actually a quill that Basil found earlier before we left, and it's just really nice. You can see the difference between those. Now, look how long and thin these two on the right are. Your left, sorry, your right, my left. And then you look at how thick this one is. Now, these ones on the right, in my right hand, are what we'd refer to as a trigger quill. So when a animal predator, often young lions get very curious with porcupines, so they'll start to go towards a porcupine. The porcupine stands there and it rattles its quills, kind of like a rattlesnake, saying, "Hey, get back, get away, I'm dangerous, don't mess with me." And then should that predator not listen, it's then got these dangerous guys that will then go up, and the porcupine will actually physically back up into the predator, and these are the ones that then cause the damage. And it's really difficult to see with the naked eye. I mean, if you run your fingers along it, you can feel it's got the little barbs. But really interesting. You might want to Google it, a porcupine quill under a microscope. Now, they have these tiny little barbs that come out of it. So it sits like that, right? And these barbs face inward. So once it impales into an animal, it's very difficult for that predator to pull it out. And actually in the Kalahari, there's a lioness, and she stuck her head down this porcupine hole. And when she came up, the porcupine had managed to get a whole lot of quills in her face. Now, we thought it would be a simple dart the animal and just pull the quills out, no problem. When I say it was difficult to pull them out, it was literally foot against the head with a pair of pliers and ripping them out because they got so stuck in there. And I think since that day I've got a very new big respect for a porcupine. But we're not going to take this with us. We're going to leave this bush and let someone else enjoy it when they come past. Yeah, that was quite an event. It's funny when you see these big strong animals like the lions and so forth, and then they come in contact with a honey badger, or they come in contact with with a porcupine, and this tiny little animal just absolutely fights back with all its heart and ends up chasing that predator away. It's really one of the most comical things to witness out here. Always gives us a good laugh. I am just locating us here again on the map. And we're on track for our late afternoon waterhole visit. Coming into these summer months now, starting to hear a number of these cicada beetles all around. And it's quite deafening actually at night. It's a very loud, very loud noise. Basil, sorry, I'm going to be a pain here. Can you try and get on that blue wax ball there on that little bird? Let's hope he gives us a quick view before he flies off. It's a beautiful little bird, that. So he is called a blue waxbill, and you can see why he gets the name blue waxbill, because he has got that, he's gone just below, he has got that beautiful blue chest. There he goes. Being such a small bird, it's really difficult to video or keep up with him with a camera and see him hopping around there just feeding. And one of the most incredible birds out here from a nesting behavior perspective. They've got a mutualistic relationship, right? One of those symbiotic relationships, and I'm sure as many of you all know, mutualism means that both organisms are benefiting. So what they do is they'll often, I'll see if we can find one as we go, but they will often build their nest in a thorn tree, and funny enough, they build it primarily out of blue seed grass. And what they will do then is build their nest in the thorn tree. On top of their nest, a paper wasp will build a nest. So the paper wasp is benefiting in the way that on the colder nights, it is getting the heat from the birds, and the birds are benefiting in the sense that if anything goes to disturb that tree or that particular branch, the wasp will go out and sting the threat. So that would then result in the birds being kept safe, the little chicks and the eggs being kept safe in the nest. So it is a happy relationship all around. Amazing how all these different species know to interlink and how they can really work so well with one another. And again, it goes back to that whole factor of you know, the circle of life out here, and how important it is to have everything all together. First, for school life, you're asking why was it determined to help the lioness with the quills. So the lioness was part of a pride that has been researched and has been researched for about the last 7 years, and it's really important for the species as a whole to carry on those specific research projects. By leaving a quill in, it can develop an infection, and that animal can then die as a result of that infection. The lioness did also have cubs, so you're not just saving one, but you're saving a couple of them. And remember also, lions are endangered, so it is one of those species that does require help from time to time. But you're absolutely right, for the most part we do leave a lot of the animals out here that do have natural injuries. For the most part, will intervene when an animal has got a snare around it, a piece of wire, or it's walked onto a piece of glass and cut itself or something of a kind. So any human impact that has negatively impacted an animal, we will assist and go and help. And we are only able to help a lot, and also through Painted Dog, because of all of you and all of your help. And I can't tell you how much we all appreciate it, and it all is a team effort saving the species of Africa. And Mary, you're 100% correct. Every property does have its own protocols with regard to interventions. You know, a lot of the smaller reserves will help animals regardless, because it's all part of an ecosystem that they need to keep going. Like we've kept saying, if you remove one, it's going to disrupt everything. So it's a crucial factor to keep it all aligned and all on track and on path. You know, a lot of these research animals, it's so important to have them. I can't stress to you enough how important it is that we learn different factors about them, we learn different behaviors, because it just means that further down the line we're really able to assist them, and we're really able to allow species to flourish and grow further. I think we're going straight. But let's double check. Yeah, we are indeed. When you see there is a track here of baboons. Quite a few tracks of baboons here. Not too fresh though, so not going to stop for them, because they are quite difficult to see, and I think on camera won't be easy to see them at all. Just driven through a spider web. Feel like I'm part of the Formula One Weber family over here. Maybe if I get that AC going, I will be. They've walked all the way down the road here. Now it's always good to check baboon tracks, because a baboon is, you know, such a large primate. It can often, the front foot of a baboon can often look like a leopard track. So it's something that I always double check out here. Just make sure that it's a baboon rather than that of a cat. My little niece actually loves baboons. We were in Cape Town last year, and little Piper loves to see the baboons running around, and she's a little monkey herself, always energetic and running. Seeing those baboon tracks made me think of her. Okay, I think we're going straight on again. So you can actually see where we're going. We're going at a slight angle here. It's going slightly downhill, which would indicate that the water flow naturally would flow down that direction. So it would show us that the dam is this way, which it is indeed. You know, aren't we super lucky as well that VM, as well as the technical guys behind Painted Dog, have been able to develop a Starlink and that sort, that we no longer get gremlins on the drives, and we're really able to have good signal throughout the entire reserve wherever we go. Really thankful for that, so we're not having these breakups. They've done an awesome job with the whole setup. Oh, I think our elephant friends have been here. Some signs of them around. Leaving the branch here. Trying to become a branch manager. And even here. It's actually pretty cool. So you can see on this branch how all of the bark has been taken off of this, right? Let me grab this one. Actually, this is a bit easier to see. So on these trees, you know, these trees have three main layers. So you got your outer layer, which is like a protective layer. You then got your inner layer, which is this inside, which is like the orangey yellowish color. Now that's the layer we refer to as the cambium layer. And that cambium layer has the zome and the phylum. So what happens there is that where all of the nutrients and the waters are transported for the tree, and then you got your main support trunk here. Now what these elephants do, it's incredible how they actually do it, is they take these branches and they put the branch in the mouth, and while they're feeding they rotate it, and all they're doing is just picking out this cambium layer, this the second layer with those nutrients and the waters. Now this is more so a common practice in winter months, because there's not so much vegetation, nutrients and so forth for the elephants to feed on. So again, like that bone, animals and the elephants have to look at other ways to supplement the diet. So this is a very positive sign that the elephants have been around. Not recent, I'd say looks like before some rains, so maybe a couple of weeks ago. It is very dry, but it has got fragments of dust on it. You can see on my hands how sandy they are now. So I'll definitely say that this is from a couple of weeks ago. But again, because we are close by the water source, this is most likely why the ellies were hanging around in this area. Basil, should I be a real pain and ask you to try film the butterfly? Oh, it's gone. There's an African monarch butterfly. Definitely one of the more difficult animals to keep a camera on. Oh, lovely. Look at this. We've arrived at the dam, and already there is a herd of impala up ahead. So like we said, the late afternoons, coming for a drink. See what else is happening here. It's going to approach nice and slowly, so if anything is drinking, we don't disturb it. You know, those impala, you see them and then they're gone. Now you see me, now you don't. Oh, we've got some Egyptian. I'm going to stop in a sec as well. Just want to get a full view of the dam. I almost just said rhino, but it's not, it's a rock. Lots of animals that look like rocks in bushes out here. How's that for a view? Stunning with the mountains in the back. The iconic mountain of Rietspruit with my Rietspruit. Really, really beautiful afternoon. There's something really peaceful about this area. Male and female Egyptian goose over there, having their afternoon walk. It's amazing, such a territorial goose that. If another pair comes in here, they'll be very, very quick to chase them out of here. And you can actually see where they are, how the embankment has almost collapsed as such. And that is a result of a lot of animals coming to mud wallow and drink from that particular area. You can literally see the spots where the animals drink. So where Basil has got the camera right now, you can actually see where, you know, bigger species like that of elephant and rhino have been there and really dug up the mud. And you can actually see the tusk marks there as well. And then they will take a tusk, dig into the mud, create some more mud for themselves, and then have a great mud bath that serves as a exfoliator as well as a cooling system. You might even be able to hear the cicadas in the background. Jennifer, you're asking how many of these natural bodies of water are there on the reserve? There is quite a few of them. If I'm not mistaken, there are about 5 of them, as well as other additional water sources that are pumped via wells. Alrighty, let's carry on. We're going to stay within the general area of this water source. See if we can catch a couple of the different species coming down for a late afternoon drink. It is beautiful, eh? Almost looked like a woodland kingfisher there. Didn't see it. Just saw that bright blue. Pretty awesome if they're back. Seen one yet. Love these that just get engulfed by these quarry thickets. It becomes like a forest. Definitely lots of positive sign that the elephant have been around here. The ellies were all over doing their job, breaking the trees, clearing a bit of the environment. Okay, looks like we've got the male lion tracks here. But they don't look too fresh. Oh. Head up to the fence line and check on the fence line. Yeah, Carol, you know, or during the course of the day, you know, where I live in the wildlife estate here quite frequently, and I haven't heard yet, but I mean, it's on 27th of November, it should definitely be around, so I'm pretty sure that was one. I'm not going to make that call because I don't have positive ID on the bird. Waiting to see one of those big gentle giant elephants pop their head out of the bush here somewhere. Now we're into prime game viewing time. Nice and cool, sun's going to drop behind the mountains behind us. Everything is slowly going to start to get more and more active now. Got some more signs of rhino in the area. Hold on, going to be a bit of a dip here. Oh, got some hyena scat over here. Can see that very white coloration from that high calcium diet that they've got, and it looks like it's been stood on by a rhino. But what's amazing is that even animals like tortoises and that sort, you know, they all come and feed on this hyena dung. That cropophagia helps them to develop their shells and Make them a bit stronger as well. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's absolute deafening sound here from all the cicadas. Alrighty, we have hit the eastern fence line, and I'm going to go further towards the south. Let's make sure there's nothing further up that way. I've seen these lines a number of times up here. What is in the road there? On the left of the road? Killers, or can you zoom that far? You see, like just before the top of the hill, something on the little patch on the left. More up. Yeah, up. Like all the way. More up. No, it's a tree. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we find these guys elsewhere. I'm pretty sure we'll get the cheetah somewhere along the fence line. I've often seen those male lions and the cheetah up here. You know, the neighbouring property's also got a very large male lion that tends to vocalize a hell of a lot. And these guys have a vocalizing wall. Luckily, they have a so there's no risk of any injuries or anything of kind. There, we got anything? Yeah, there is cheetah tracks there. Let's see. Oh, it's such a nice time of day out. It's that lovely time when getting all of the arrows coming from the bush now. I've missed the smell of the Lowveld. Always that early morning and late evening, you're getting the lovely smells coming through. Well, mammal-wise, at least we've seen an impala and a warthog. Hopefully we've got something bigger to come soon. Yeah, the elephant have annihilated this area. Look how desolated this is becoming. Picking up all the trees, uprooting all of the trees. It's such an important balance to get out here with the elephant, and you're going to have this absolute destruction of the land. Too little elephant, and the bush is going to become too thick, and it's just not going to be not going to support the habitat of so many different species. So it's really crucial that you get that bang on, that you get it absolutely perfect. The number of elephant within a particular reserve. My binoculars are in the bag of tricks over here. Always carry them with me. Can never go to the bush without your binoculars or your reference books. Always important to have. And bug spray. Susan, have a absolutely lovely day. Thank you for watching. Join us. This is where we got those cheetah brothers last time. Was in this little dip down here. But of course they do move. Male line tracks going in the same direction that we go in. Sorry, FC go again. So we're getting a tad bit of breakup. We are in the far eastern area of the reserve currently. So getting a very slight breakup. I'm tempted way on here. You've been seeing the cheetahs on that southern fence line quite a bit, and there's male lions. Yeah. Should we give it a bash, do you think? Yeah, I think. Oh, I'm looking like a peacock with my hair. I think I might need a haircut soon. I'll just let it blow in the wind. But again, a massive thank you to Rogue for keeping and protected from the sun during the hotter hours earlier. And now I'm just trying to see over the vehicle as we go down this treacherous road. See if we can find a nice gap also in the trees, because there's an absolutely stunning sunset happening. A little bit of a gap there. You can actually see the fire as well. You can physically see the flame, and we are a very long distance from there. So the fact that we can actually physically see the fire flame, you can see that little dot there, you can see two of those dots, would just indicate as to how big it really is. Luckily no houses or anything of the kind up there. Thanks, Carol. Yeah, gonna give it a go on the fence line, on the southern fence line, and see if we get lucky. Yo, look, you can see the whole fire front. You can't see it with the naked eye, but through the camera you can see it there. So that would only be able to be put out most likely by helicopter. Thank you, Willow. I really appreciate that. Every time I look at the screen, do you see where the camera's at? I just see this like little flicker of hair at the back. We've got some helmeted guinea fowl up ahead in the road. You can hear that call calling in the background there. We call it a Piet Mayfu, St. Piet's mouth, and its real name's actually red-chested cuckoo. I was extremely fortunate, you know, having a lot of my childhood growing up in Zimbabwe. And Quint, if you're still on, you remember this. But you know, growing up and hearing that Piet Mayfu calling early hours in the late evenings on the farm in Zimbabwe was one of the memories I really hold closest to me, and always cherish that forever. Every single time that I hear brings back those memories, something really special to me and to the bush. Can hear it a bit better, I'm closer even. So there was also a vocalization of a lion. It does sound like it is actually further up northeast from the area that we're from. So it does sound very, very far. It is very faint. You can just hear the end of the. So it's not really something that I'm going to try for now, but perhaps tomorrow we can give it a bash, or on Wednesday. Now, even though we don't particularly go and look for them right now, it still gives us a general idea as to where we can start tomorrow and where we can start in the coming days and look for those tracks. Oh, listen to all these Piet Mayfus calling all around us now. Almost gives me goosebumps when I hear it. That really puts a smile on my face. You know, when you got smells or certain sounds that just bring back those memories. Love it. Sorry, Carol, it's not actually on Zoom. I'm not on drive tomorrow. It is Sarah's birthday tomorrow. So we are going to a little birthday celebration for Sarah. Quint, I tell you, those memories on the farm were really, really special and something I'll always hold truly close to my heart. Quick me fishing on the farm. And then quickly, get in the vehicle. Oh, here come the elephants. Fun. Yeah, and with regard to fire, I mean, yeah, it is really sad to see, but at the same time, it is positive in its own light. You know, like I was saying earlier, it does allow for vegetation to come through and so forth. And these fires will come about, and I think we amount of wildfires between now and the remainder of the year. With the rainfall about, there's so much rain last year that what's happened is it's massive fuel load. So when you've got this massive fuel load now, is if a fire gets at like that, it will just take off. And it just be fire, and so often you can only fight fire with fire. What's in the road? Nothing. So what you do is, if you got a fire like that, you start what you call a backburn. So you start burning from the opposite end to where that fire is going toward. So you eliminate that fuel source, and then it's easier for you to control. Spotted another rock on the road. I'm doing a fantastic job with these rocks today. Thank you, Barbara. I will let Sarah know that everybody says happy birthday. Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Carol. I will let her know. You can see the light is really starting to fade now. All of the nocturnal species are going to start to come about, so you get that awesome transition now from diurns active during the day to nocturnal animals active at night. So I always say it becomes like two worlds out here. During the day, world, during the night, completely different species, different behaviors. I think it's going to be a lot more pleasant to fall asleep tonight. Last night was so hot that literally couldn't sleep with fans on. So really happy that it's a bit cooler tonight. It's like a little mud wallow that's forming here. Talking about the rains and the fire now. You know, Wednesday, hopefully there's going to be quite a lot of rainfall, and it's said to be hot again after Wednesday. So this will definitely be a target area for us from about Thursday going forward, because that will support a lot of the bigger game, elephant and rhino and so forth, warthogs, coming to have a mud wallow like we were saying at the dam. So you can see it's all flattened all around it, more clay-based soil there. More so basalts more than anything. So it'll develop a nice mud wallow. Good to see that. I haven't seen that before. Barbara, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you too. It was lovely to have you guys out here. As it gets darker and the sun drops further down and we're driving closer toward the mountains, I'm just seeing more and more of that orange glow from the fire. Basil, I'll stop for you once we get a bit of a better view and we don't have trees in the way. But I mean, those flames are looking very large. And we are just seeing one side of the fire as well. Yeah, there we go. So look how the fire follows the contours as well of the mountain. Always pretty interesting. And you think if we can see those flames from, I'd say probably good 5-7 kilometers away, probably about 4 miles away, you can imagine how big those will be up close and the immense heat that they're producing. Let's hope everything's able to escape from that, huh? Luckily we do have a very good fire service out here, and there's a number of volunteer firefighting units where everyone comes together and helps. Obviously up there very different, that will only be accessible by helicopter. You don't ever want to put people up on a mountaintop like that. It can cause danger very, very quickly. People can get killed, people can get burnt, and obviously never want that to happen. And just the terrain up there is super, super rocky. You know, flying over these mountains, you really get an idea as to how rocky it is and how dangerous that terrain is. Almost time to whip out our trusty lead lenser. A big thank you to the lead lenser team for making sure we can always shine. Now, although it still looks pretty bright on your on the camera, it is actually quite dark right now. The camera has just got an incredible ISO, or I don't actually know what you'd call it. Exposure. Thank you Basil. Exposure. So again, we are sure you can see one of the roads left. It would probably help also if I turn the vehicle lights on. There we go. That's a bit easier. Starting to see the little bats come out, the little insect-eating bats. They're called microtroptures, and they're using that echolocation. So I don't think you'll be able to hear it through the mic, but it's this little high-pitched noise that they use to find their prey, bounce off their prey, and then they're able to feed. And of course, coming out under the cover of darkness and in the cooler weather. Maybe it's time to find that leopard. What we're going to do is we're going to head to, if I'm not mistaken, Mamba Dam, I think it's called. Basil? So Mamba Dam? Mamba Dam. So we're going to head there. I know that it's often been spoken about that there's a leopardess that likes to hang around that area. So let's see if we can get lucky. great thing about coming on these roads less travelled is that you get a bit of an African rock massage. Just jiggling the kidneys a little bit. It seems as though we have hit a elephant roadblock. Let's see if we can go around. What's that? I don't know if it's a road. I think it's a road. Basil, what do you think? Is this a road?
Now it is.
I think we are a road. If not, I think we're doing pretty well getting through it. Just going to turn the light off for a sec. Check some of your questions. There we go. There we go. Okay, questions now. Right, Mary, I've also got one of those small little LED lenses, and it is unbelievably bright. I take it with me everywhere. It's like having a normal spotlight, and I've actually used it as a backup spotlight on safaris, and it works really, really well. Yes, that's right. The South African firefighters did go to Canada. Saw those awesome videos of them when they were singing and dancing when they arrived. Thought that was pretty special, just spreading the love and the enthusiasm. Very, 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 very proud, you know, to see all of that. See South Africans doing their bit. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. I hope everyone's enjoying it. Okay, now we really have lost the road. Let's pull out the map and see. What do you think? Should we try go around? Oh, there we go. You're right there? I almost drove Basil into a thorn tree there. I was almost a bit of a prick. Oh wow, look at that moon. Look at that. That is a blood moon, guys. Now you're seeing that kind of orangey reddish coloration because of the dust in the atmosphere. I mean, that is really, really beautiful. And if I'm not mistaken, it's actually a full moon tonight. You know, hearing that, seen that with all of the diurnal animals and birds and whatnot giving their last calls for the day. It's really one of those magical moments in the bush. And look at that from Basil, he's got a perfect frame of the moon through the trees there. Couldn't ask for a better way to end a day in Africa after a stunning sunset and then greeted by a moon like that. Nice also just to stop and appreciate, you know, the smaller things like that and the smaller aspects of the bush. Got some eye reflection up ahead. Didn't see what it was. So let's see here. It moved pretty swiftly and quickly, so I don't believe it was a cat of some sort. Nothing. But I can see an owl or something up ahead. It's quite a distance ahead, but I can just see the silhouette of it in the mountains. Well, I think it's an owl. Huh? That looks like an owl, eh? I'm sure. It's got to be an owl. Can't be a branch. Look at that silhouette. Let me stop here and then you can see the silhouette. And then I'll go closer. Yeah, it looks like a vulture actually, with a piece of the branch behind it. Let's get a little closer. It is a white-backed vulture, guys, but we are not going to shine the spotlight on it because that vulture has found a nice, comfortable spot to roost for the night, and we don't want to disturb it. He may actually already fly off with us even being this close, but we don't want to disturb him. You know, so I always say when you see a vulture in a comfortable tree like that, he's found a place to roost. When you see a vulture in an uncomfortable tree that's got a lot of foliage and lots of branches and so forth, the vulture's there for a reason. But in this case, it's just a nice spot for him to roost. Pretty cool with the silhouette if you zoom out there a little bit, Basil, and you just see the mountains with the tree with the vulture. You'll see it now. Keep going back a little. Yeah, look at that. Makes me feel like I'm on safari. Beautiful. You stay put, Mr. Vulture. Don't fly away, and please don't poop on us either. Thank you, guys. Really, really awesome to be back with you all. I've really enjoyed being back. And good news is we've got a couple of drives to come. I'm going to be back with you a couple of times, and then I'm off again. But then we'll most definitely be back. You know, I can't stay away from this. I enjoy it too much. Always good fun, and I love the interaction with everybody. But we still got about 58 seconds left, so let's see, maybe we can still find that elusive leopard. You never ever know. But it again has come to that time where the 58 seconds have started to go down. As from myself and Basil, just wanted to say again thank you very much for joining us for the afternoon game drive, and a massive thank you to the whole dog team, for the whole crew. Absolutely amazing and absolutely phenomenal work to get all the signal and everything so perfect. And we'll see you soon, and thank you for joining us. Have an awesome evening, have an awesome morning, or a great day wherever you may be in the world. That's us from Africa. Bye.